How's it going, guys? My name's Andreas. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel where today we are going to be discussing Call of Duty Modern Warfare and why I've stopped playing it recently. Now, I'm not going to stop playing it forever, and let me just say it from now, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is still one of my favourite CODs that's ever been made. I really like the game for some reason, but yeah, so I'm going to be talking about both multiplayer and Warzone, and just giving my opinions as to why I think it's started to go downhill, so much the fact that, like I said, I've not been playing it too much recently. Let's start off with Warzone. Warzone is becoming very, very try-hard, and it's very frustrating as someone who's been playing it ever since it came out. When it first came out, it used to be a lot of fun, a lot of interesting stuff to do, and then it just sort of became dire towards the end of it, well, more recently. And I think this is due to multiple reasons. One reason is because of the poor updates that have been brought out, in my opinion. I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare, especially for Warzone, haven't really been too good in terms of the updates. Weapons not getting the correct nerfs like they should be getting. C4s and RPGs. And there are also other weapons which are seen to be really OP, and if you try and use another weapon, you won't really be able to succeed that well. Grau, MP5, M4A1. So, in my opinion, these weapons not getting the correct nerf has really caused a downhill. And just in terms of fun, because everyone seems to be using these weapons. Now, I don't mind using these weapons, but when it becomes something as to the likes of spamming them as the only way to get kills, such as using C4s and RPGs, it really does ruin the skill factor, which I think that a lot of people were really happy with the game when it first came out, and people would be like, yeah, I'm good at the game now, when instead people will just start to use RPGs, run people over with cars, and then throwing C4s and stuff. It is ridiculous, and it's even led to people starting to put trophy systems on top of vehicles in the fears of them getting blown up by people commonly using C4s or using RPGs or trip mines. In my opinion, these need a huge nerf, and we've not really even seen it, especially for the likes of an RPG or really a Grau or an MP5 or anything like that. Aside from that, I'm pretty happy with Warzone, but I feel like another small problem with it is the Gulag. The Gulag, in my opinion, was really fun when you had shotguns, pistols, those sort of weapons in. But then when they started bringing in assault rifles, started bringing in snipers as well recently, it's just it's not as fun as it used to be. And in my opinion, it's a lot more luck now more than skill in order to actually get these kills. And it becomes very frustrating as well. Now, I like the idea of what they've done with contracts, and they've improved them over time. But aside from that, it's not really been too great in terms of improvements for Warzone. There's not really been improvements. It just feels like it's going slowly downhill. Just like usual Call of Duties. And this Modern Warfare is different because I feel like without Warzone, the game would be 100% dead. But I feel like it's still heading down that path slowly but surely, and it's not really interesting. Another thing which I think has made the game not really interesting is the lack of changes. We have seen no map changes despite being 4 seasons in to Warzone. I remember when Blackout came out, first sort of season they did for it, afterwards they made changes to the map. They changed the map a bit. Yeah, the changes weren't great, they were slightly mediocre, but at least, they changed the gameplay up and changed the system up. We don't even have a nighttime Warzone map, which in my opinion needs to be done, and it's just not been done yet. It's very frustrating from those sort of perspectives, and I really hope that we can see something like this in the future. I don't hold too much hope in terms of this, and like I said, the fact that we've not been given a map change for so long makes the game really, really stale and dead, in my opinion, and just nothing to do. Like, wins don't even feel that rewarding anymore because there's nothing new to go for, just like, oh yay, we won. Cool. And, the fun will last for about 5 minutes until you go into another game and get RPG'd again. Well, to be honest, that's all of the really sort of the complaints I have with Warzone in particular. I do have one extra complaint which I'll tie in to multiplayer as well. And the main problem with multiplayer is the community. Now, Call of Duty, in my opinion, has the most toxic fan base, throughout the whole of the gaming industry. That and FIFA are honestly, like the FIFA community, are really, really close just in terms of how AIDS and how toxic the communities are towards each other. You know, it is absolutely ridiculous that the communities will resort to using game-breaking mechanics just in order to get a better KD than someone within a game or something. I remember when Modern Warfare multiplayer used to be a lot of fun just to grind camos, but it's not really that fun anymore. And in my opinion, they've done so many things wrong, which we'll go through, which I think has not really helped aside from the community. The first thing they've done is they just keep releasing these stupid updates which take up to 35 to 40 gigabytes. I actually looked the other day as to how big Modern Warfare is as a game on my PlayStation, and the game itself is 193 gigabytes. That is obscene for any game whatsoever, regardless whether it's Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, NFL, like anything, like literally anything. It is an obscene amount of memory to take up on a console. And especially if you have a 500 gigabyte edition, you can only then be able to play 2 more games on it. I have the 1 terabyte edition, and I still have to make a lot of space on my console for different games just to try and have to fit Modern Warfare in there. And that's actually led me to uninstall it so I can make content on other games and eventually reinstall it when I'm done. I shouldn't have to do that as someone who just wants to play games casually. You know, for me, that is completely ridiculous. You know, one playlist change and 1 new weapon into the game should not warrant a 35 gigabyte update. And I'm sorry, I don't care how popular the game is or whether it's cross-platform or not, it doesn't warrant it. It doesn't deserve it, and it doesn't even really give you that much in terms of a reward for installing the updates. Another thing, in my opinion, is the modes that they have as well. You know, Ground War initially was cool when it first started, but then everyone just started to use tanks. So therefore, it just became really, once again, just toxic. Just really, really toxic, you know, and just unplayable. In my opinion, I absolutely detest Ground War for, you know, for Modern Warfare because I can never seem to do well in it, you know, and I don't think many people can, to be honest, either. I know it's not really about the kills and death sort of thing. It's not really about a KD. It's just about having fun. But how can you have fun if you're dying from snipers when you try and cross the street, when there's a sniper camping in a building that's like 500 meters away and they hit you with a one-shot snipe? Like, fucking hell. Another thing which I think they've just not really nailed is, once again, just weapon balancing. You know, a lot of people nowadays, if you go into a shipment game, everyone will rock a shield on their back. Everyone will rock an R9 shotgun, or maybe, you know, some sort of, you know, SMG that's got an overpowered fire rate or something. Once again, just the use of OP weapons, which forces the community as well to be toxic. And there are a lot of people, including myself, who don't want to be toxic and just play the game for fun. But, you know, I feel like I am resorted and I'm having to use a 725 when I go on shipment and C4s because that's what everyone else does. And otherwise, you just can't compete. And in my opinion, I've seen that happen in FIFA. I've seen that happen in GTA. You know, it makes the game a lot more unpopular than you think it does, and it needs to be changed. The whole game, in my opinion, needs a revamp in the next season to make it fresh again. Just give players something to play, you know. And finally, my final complaint about Modern Warfare is the maps. No map on Modern Warfare is good aside from the remastered ones. Rust is good, Shoot House is okay, Piccadilly is okay, you know, Superstore is okay. You know, the rest of them are garbage. You know, Hackney Yard is one of the worst maps in COD I think I've ever played in my life. There's so many games and so many maps, sorry, within the game, you know, and the maps in Call of Duty just don't compare with any other maps. You know, if you take a look at Black Ops 4, you know, the previous Call of Duty, and the maps of Modern Warfare, Black Ops 4's maps shit on Call of Duty Modern Warfare's maps. And that's bad when you're comparing Modern Warfare with Black Ops 4. And I'm not saying Black Ops 4 is any good, but I'm not saying it's bad either. But maps were not of Black Ops 4's sort of strong points, if you will. And if it beats Modern Warfare's maps, then you know you're doing something wrong. You know, and that, in my opinion, is actually a fair comparison between the two. Like, you just compare the maps. Because Modern Warfare's maps just basically involve you crossing a street and praying to God you just don't get lasered or sniped. That's really it. So, you know, that's it. To be honest, that's all my complaints. Let me know any sort of ideas. Well, any ideas that you guys have, which you think Infinity Ward should do as well for in the next season of Modern Warfare or anything like that. And yeah, we'll have to see in it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure you leave a like. I've been Andreas, and I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care, lads.